Hi guys and welcome back to the channel Held Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and if you want to see more. Coming up in today's episode, the Betfred Challenge Cup quarter-final games with Hull facing Huddersfield Giants while Catalans host St.Helens. Plus I square away the last three NRL games of round 5. So we'll begin this episode with squaring off Saturday's games in the NRL as we see the Gold Coast Titans take on the Parramatta Eels in the final game of Saturday's round. At the start of the weekend, Parramatta Eels were in a purple patch and are third in the ladder of the NRL with 3 wins from their 4 games, while their opponents today and hosts Gold Coast Titans are in that middle pack with 2 wins from 2 games of the 4 that they've played. And here are the teams. For the Titans, Paul Firma, Phil Sammy and Isaac Liu have been named to return to the starting side after they were ruled out following COVID-19 protocols last week. Sammy switches to the centres in place of Brian Kelly. Young gun Jaden Campbell will be given another week off to nurse a rib injury, with Jermaine Isako starting again at fullback. Herman Esiesi drops out of the reserves list due to COVID protocols when the squad was trimmed 24 hours before kickoff, while Sammy Lysone, apologies if I got that wrong, is the 18th man. For the Eels, Ryan Matterson will start in the second row in place of Sean Lane, and with Bryce Cartwright moving onto the bench, despite his worldie of a pass last time out. Lane had been named to return after missing last week's win over the Dragons, but dropped out when the side was finalised 60 minutes before kickoff. Mitch Rain also comes into the 17 for his club debut. So it was the Parramatta Eels who dominated the opening exchanges of the first half, but the Titans did really well to defend their own try line. A stalemate developed between the two sides before the Titans squandered a perfect opportunity to open the scorings, with Toby Sexton's perfect kick in goal unable to be grounded by AJ Brimson. M2 pairing up once again to cause problems for opponents. The Eels in the next phase of play won a 6 again call, which resulted in a score after Mitchell Moses found Clint Gutherson on the outside to cross to score his try. Parramatta continued to make inroads and Moses broke the Titans' defence but found Corey Thompson, who snuffed out a second try. It wouldn't be long before the Eels went ahead by 8 points, with Bailey Simonson finishing off a neat backroom move. Peter Goff, the referee, went upstairs to check whether Jared Wallace grounded the ball ahead of Gufferson from Moses' kick, but the green light was given for the Eels skipper, and they extended the lead to 14 points when Moses successfully with his first successful conversion of the night. It was a well-deserved lead for the Eels at the break, but they were without Wacker Blake for the second 40 minutes after leaving the field with a left knee problem. The Eels started the half in dominant fashion as they committed to the early stages, and off the back of a Titans error, the Eels scored first through Ryan Matterson after 7 minutes. The first of several contentious moments happened 10 minutes in, when Gold Coast Titans rolled the dice by challenging a lost ball call near the Eels line. This was deemed deliberate action for giving away a penalty, which would have resulted in AJ Brimson being sent to the sin bin if deemed unsuccessful. The challenge was overturned upon review. As a result, the home side finally got over the line in the following set, with Brimson's kick to the in-goal finding Philip Sammy to score. On the hour, the Titans once more challenged the call after a penalty committed by Patrick Herbert was challenged, and it was basically in the same position as the last challenge. The challenge was again successful after it was deemed that Herbert was held back. Once again, the Titans at the end of the set kicked to the in goal through Brimson, which was grounded this time by Erin Clark for their second try. The game reached boiling point after Joseph Paulo's shoulder charge on Brimson, which saw the Eels prop placed on report and sent to the sin bin, was coming to the second half, the final quarter of the game. Basically 17 minutes to go. Incredibly though, AJ Brimson remained on the field despite being down for a period. Parramatta started to lose their way. Rattled by two captain challenge calls and Paulo's sin bin, their dominance had grind to a stop. When David Fafita turned the game on its head after running out of dummy half from 40 metres out, breaking tackle after tackle to score in the corner, Sexton's conversion moved the Titans within 4 points of the lead with 11 minutes remaining. Titans were thinking, could we come back from 20 points down to snatch a victory? Eels though answered that soon after, through Dylan Brown scoring off Moses' kick, which was fumbled by a Titans defender on their own goal line. With 7 minutes to go, the Eels had turned the scoring into a 10-point buffer. Greg Mayhew kept the Titans in with a chance, burrowing his way over the line, but Sexton's conversion hit the uprights, leaving the points margin to 6 points with 4 to go. It was the Titans who had 30 seconds left to level the scores, but Brimson's kick through was gaffled up by the Eels to conclude an exciting and at times controversial encounter, which left the full-time scores at Gold Coast Titans 20, Parramatta Eels 26. We now move on to the Challenge Cup, the third game of the weekend, as the quarterfinals get to their penultimate game. We now see Hull FC travel to Huddersfield Giants for this game that were played on Premier Sports at 5 PM Saturday. At this stage of the tournament, you want to see the best players play for both sides, so both teams named almost full team squads. With Tui Lolohea continuing at fullback and Jack Cogger keeping his place in the halves with Theo Farge. Chris Hill, Ollie Wilson and Danny Levi are in the front row for Huddersfield, while Joe Greenwood is on the bench, waiting to come on for his 200th appearance in Professional Rugby League's top level. For Hull, they make one change, and that's on the bench as Josh Reynolds returns to the side after injury, and Joe Lovadua with his form continuing, hoping to be continued in the halves. After a decent half break from Chris Hill and a set-up drive, Danny Levi goes to the left with Theo Farge to Cogger, and Ricky Lulatelli powers his way over, getting the ball down for the first try of the game, with 8 minutes gone in the game. Tui Lolohea kicked the conversion to make it 6 points to 0, and then on the 19th minute added another 2 points due to a penalty given to Huddersfield, and he kicked another conversion. Hull went to their bench in response, and on the 26th minute they got it, as Luke Gale found the substitute Reynolds, who kicked on for Mani Manu, who went over for the Hull's first try of the game to make it 8 points to 4. After Hull made it 8 points to 6, Tui Lolohea came back on the outside and put a fantastic kick into the backfield for Chris McQueen to go over for another 4-point try, which Tui Lolohea added to make it a 6-point try to make it 14 points to 6 to Huddersfield Giants. Hull came back though on the 48th minute after they scored another try through Andre Savelio, and Luke Gale added his second conversion of the game to make it 16 points to 12. Huddersfield on the 60th minute have Tui Lolohea again to thank for their play. A short ball to Yates finds a gap for Yates to run through, and Lolohea had enough about him to get round the Hull defence to score left of the posts. He added the conversion, and that was 22 points to 12 to the Giants. On the 73rd minute, it was a penalty for Tui Lolohea that extended the Huddersfield lead to 24 points to 12. But Hull came back with a try of their own just before the end of the game. On the 76th minute, but it was too little too late, as the home side went out victorious and are now in the semi-finals against, well, don't know who against yet, but win 24 points to 16. We now move on to Sunday's games for the NRL, as there were 2 games played for the final fixtures of round 5. And we begin with the first game between the Cronulla Sharks and the West Tigers. Cronulla Sharks come into the game with a good start to the season, with 3 wins from their 4 games, and are only 4th on points differential. Points scored, that is, because the points against is better than any of the 3 sides above. West Tigers, though, come into the 5th game of the season with no points on the board in the table standings and 4 defeats in all. Both sides made changes for the game. First of all, the Sharks had Royce Hunt and Jack Williams added to the bench 24 hours before kickoff, with Aidan Tolman and Braden Trindle dropping out of the squad altogether. There were no further changes to the final game day squad, but beforehand, Matt Ikuvalu had an ankle injury, and Connor Tracy, with a groin injury, remain out, with COC Talake keeping his spot in the backline after a strong performance on the left edge. West Tigers, though, have centre James Roberts ruled out on the day before the game, with Dane Laurie joining him in the final day 17, with Stafford Toa moving to fullback, Luke Garner to centre, and Tom Michele added to the bench. Jock Madden remains in the halves alongside Luke Brooks, with Jackson Hastings another week away from a return from suspension. Kelma Tuilagi has been included in the back row after failing the HIA last week, but was cleared to face the Sharks. So we go into the first half, and the Tigers withstood an early examination at their line, but a drop bomb from standing fullback Stafford Toa handed Britton Nikora an easy 4-pointer to get the scoring underway with 10 minutes gone. Dione Katoa crossed for a first half double, with a pair of well-worked right-hand shifts from the Sharks, easily stripping out the left side of the Tigers' defence in your numbers case. Mulitalo joined the party early in the second half, and Jesse Ramain crashed over the top of some backpedaling defence to make it 24 points to 0 with 13 minutes to play. Cam McKinney strolled through some non-existent defence to set up Will Kennedy for a 30 points to 0 lead, before Ken Mulimalo intercepted in the final minute, avoiding the ignominy I'll get that word out eventually, of a loss to 0 with a consolation try. The final score of the game is Cronulla Sharks 30, West Tigers 4. The game, though, wasn't celebrated in the best way, unfortunately, as the game was stopped for several minutes during the second period due to protesters coming on the pitch. I'm unsure of what they were protesting, but the complaints from the NRL, well, the players of Cronulla Sharks and West Tigers, were that the security at Cronulla were not quick enough on hand to get the players away, get these protesters away from the players to ensure their safety. I'm not sure what the cape or the t-shirt was saying, but it was a severe protest making a arc over something with the symbolised orange flare. There was a second intruder on the pitch, but while not appreciated, a little bit funny as the second pitch invader, don't know if it was part of the protest or not, tackled the security guard. The site that I got these pictures from said, NRL fans are certainly built differently. And now on to the final Sunday match, as we see the Canterbury Bulldogs facing off against the Premiers, Penrith Panthers. The Panthers are top of the tree after 4 games, after winning 4 from 4, while the Canterbury Bulldogs have won only 1 of their 4 games so far and are in 14th position, after a big summer spending session. Both teams made changes. First of all, the Bulldogs have Ava Suimanu Fage as a late inclusion on the bench for the Bulldogs, with Chris Patolo dropping to being 18th man. Cal Flanagan has been recalled to the halfback spot for his first NRL game of the season, with Brandon Wakeham shifting to the bench and Bailey Biondi Odo the 18th man, following last Sunday's 44-0 loss to Melbourne Storm. The Panthers are 1-17 with no late changes. Robert Jennings was the last man omitted, with Lindsay Smith the 18th man. Ivan Cleary named the same squad that got the job done against the Rabbitohs. James Fisher-Harris and Liam Martin both resumed their starting jerseys, with Spencer Leniu and Scott Sirenen listed back on the bench. Galami Kickout suffered a head knock in last week's win, but with a 9-day turnaround was expected to play. The match started well for the Bulldogs when Isaac Tago was tackled into touch in the 4th minute. The Bulldogs defence got a lift, but it didn't last long as Taylor May crossed for his 6th try in 3 games, thanks to a lovely Jerome Luai cutout pass. May and Tago combined for a length of the field try, finished off by Dylan Edwards straight after, and Nathan Cleary penalty made it 14-0. Tavita Bangai Jr. got the Bulldogs on the board when Jerome Luai failed to defuse a kick, and the ex-Panther pounced on the scraps. That shaped the half as the halftime scores was confirmed at bedtime, until a flurry of late Bulldog errors invited Panthers to extend their lead, with Isaiah Yeo sending Liam Martin through a yawning gap shortly before the break. Spencer Leniu crashed over straight after the resumption for him, an imposing 26-6 lead to the Panthers, but Joe Stimson finished off a long-range movement, started by Josh Adokar, to keep the Dogs in the hunt with 15 minutes to go. But again, Bulldogs invited Panthers to attack with some poor errors, and Mitch Kenny was the beneficiary for his first career try as Penrith closed out the win. Penrith's ridiculous production line of outside backs was on display, with Brett Needham and Matt Burton having to depart and Brian Toto injured. Rookie duo of Isaac Tago and Tyler May combined easily for the first try, and also a try assist, with over 250 metres and 8 tackle busts, as well as 3 offloads between them. The Bulldogs, though, had the returning Cal Flanagan having a positive impact in his return to the first grade. There's still plenty of work on how the Bulldogs go about their play, but he took some pressure off Matt Burton took over the goal-kicking duties as well and slotted in well. Bulldogs fullback Matt Duffy will be having nightmares about floating torpedo bombs for a while with Cleary's monster boots helping force 4 errors for the ex-Dragon. The Bulldogs' wrecking ball to Vita Pangai Jr. continues to build into the season, producing the first 80-minute game of the year. Isaac Togo was also placed on report for a high tackle on Matt Duffy in the 12th minute, while Burton was placed on report for a chicken wing tackle on former teammate Liam Martin on the stroke of half time. But all that being said, it was a win for the Panthers to make it 5-5 with a 32 points to 12 victory. Now we're moving to the Challenge Cup as we have our first game of Saturday and the second game overall in these quarter-final games, as we see the repeat of last year's grand final as Catalans Dragons faced St. Helens at Stade Gilbert Brutus on Saturday the 9th of April. The two sides have faced each other already this season as the Catalans Dragons went down to defeat at St. Helens on the opening round of Super League 2022. Now, for the teams, starting with the Saints team, we see Will Hapawate return to the Saints side on the right wing in place of Bennison. In the forwards, Alex Walmsley returns to the side, and also Matty Leeds all are included. LMS drops to the bench, and Norman appears on the bench instead of Carl Amor. For the Catalans, they see the front row that started the Super League season come up against them yet again, against Saints yet again, as Dylan Napper and Gil Dudson both appear in the front row. Mitchell Pearce returns from bans, and Fuid Yaha is on the left wing. There is also notes that Artem Morgs reappears for Catalans Dragons as he is on the bench. Catalans are pinged for offside early in the first half, and St. Helens decide to go for 2, which Tommy Makinson sets up for the kick to open up the scoring between the two sides as St. Helens lead 2 points to 0. Catalans get the first points on the first try on the board, as after a set-up play by Sam Cassiano, they ship the ball left once again and go through their hands, with Tompkins passing the ball out to May, leaving an overlap for Fuid Yaha to dive over in the corner. Tompkins misses the kick, but Catalans have 4 points to 2 in the lead after some good slick play. It is Saints that score the next try as they go. Jack Wellesby enters the line and he passes out wide to Will Hapawate, who passes back inside unselfishly to Jack Wellesby to make it 6 points to 4 to St. Helens and 8 points to 4 with Makinson converting the extras. Wellesby did all the work to get Saints further up the field, with Catalans on the attack in the Saints 20, and his break got them up to the halfway line. After Alex Walmsley started to become dominant, a break by Saints sees Jack Wellesby again passing the ball back inside, this time for Lewis Dodd for Saints' next try for a 12 points to 4 lead, which makes it adds the extras to for 14 points to 4. The influence of Alex Walmsley is felt, and after a great Lomax and Percival break through the line, it's another try for St. Helens, and it's 18 points to 4, made 20 points to 4 with Makinson yet again adding the extras. This swinging arm here seems to give Curtis Sirenen a yellow card for 10 minutes as Sam Tompkins limps off due to an injury. Sirenen does go and sit down for 10 minutes. After a set-up play in front of the Saints sticks by Catalans, it's a short ball to Gil Dudson, who goes through and scores underneath the post, completely untouched, which Arthur marks as the extras to for a 20 points to 10 half-time scoreline. After Saints go so close through Mark Percival for his second try, Morgan Knowles picks up from dummy half to score Saints' the first try of the second half and Saints' first try in the second half, which Makinson nails the kick to extend the Saints' lead to 26 points to 10. After some consecutive sets, Catalans get on the board after a ball by Danny Drinkwater is passed out wide to Fuad Yaha, who gets his second of the game with a diving in the corner try. This kick right in the corner is nailed by Artur Morgs to give Catalans a bit of a lifeline at 16 points to 26. Let's have a look at that try again. Great pass, great floating pass, and he just stays in the field of play to score. After a Alex Walmsley set up, Darcy Lussick passes the ball to Norman after his second handling of the ball in the set of 6. Sees him go over untouched underneath the sticks while Makinson to add the extras to make it 32 points to 16 to St. Helens. Alex Walmsley's back in the thick of everything again, and Joe Batchelor breaks the tackle of Mitchell Pearce to score St. Helens' final try of the game to make it 36 points to 16, and more or less win the match with 12 minutes to go. After a bit of messing about at the play of the ball, on the 77th minute, Gil Dudson plays the ball. Mitchell Pearce passes it to Danny Drinkwater, who throws out a wonderful ball to Tom Davis in the corner, who scores the final points of the game. Consolation, yes, but what a cut-out pass by Danny Drinkwater. Let's have a look at it again. So it goes through the hands, Mitchell Pearce, Danny Drinkwater's, wow, what a floating pass and reaching the mark. What a good try. And that is where the scoring ends, and Saints move on to the semi-final with a 36 points to 20 victory in the south of France. And that's it for today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video worldwide so we can get the word out for Rugby League and this channel. It's a way that we can grow our support for the clubs and ourselves. So tell me what your thoughts are on today's episode. I know there was a lot to go through, but we found out 2 more of the quarterfinalists with 1 more to come, with Wigan versus Wakefield playing on Sunday afternoon, half an hour from when this recording goes live. But anyway, comment below and tell me what was your game of the weekend so far, and who's going to win the Challenge Cup, and also are the Penrith Panthers the team to beat for the NRL Grand Final. We just don't know at this early stage, but we can make speculation. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Remember, share this video worldwide. Also, please remember to stay safe. Wish you all the best. I'll see you in the next episode.